Members of the Manchester Select Board and town administrators heard from municipal department heads during a day-long meeting on Friday, January 6th, at the Park House at the Manchester Recreation Park. As an early draft of a proposed municipal budget that voters will eventually pass judgment on during March town meeting was discussed and dissected. As it stands now, the budget calls for a nearly 19% increase in spending compared to last year's budget, which translates into a more than $800,000 increase from more than $6.2 million last year to about $7.1 million this year. But there's a ways to go yet, with the board hoping to finalize the budget proposal during a meeting on January 17th. In a conversation we had afterwards with interim town manager Leslie Pera, she discussed some of the factors that were driving the bottom line of the budget.
A lot of it has to do with not just the large items. I mean, we have a fire truck that we're putting money aside for that we need to replace in 4 years. There is a dump truck in there for $250,000. We had a 20% increase on health insurance. And then a lot of it are actually, $5,000-$10,000 increase in lines. We're put in things, guardrails, to replace guardrails. That hasn't had as much of a budget in the past. Tree work, removing damaged trees. If you go through the budget, you'll see there's just a lot of small increases that add up. Fuel costs have skyrocketed. Our diesel expense is enormous.
When it comes to the tax side of the budget, the increase will be far less than 18 or 19%, more like 1%. But the amount that voters will eventually pay in taxes for the municipal budget will also hinge on the eventual value of the town's grand list, the taxable value of all properties in the town. That won't be known for a while.
The budget as it's presented, the tax rate itself would go down 1%. But if a home value goes up, then your taxes would go up. Mm-hmm. There's another side that sometimes people don't see is the Homestead Declaration Act. So that if taxes go up, there's the opportunity that their homestead would also go up too. So the amount of money that they receive from the state. It's a fine dance between those numbers.
Select Board Chairman Ivan Beatty gave us his initial reactions to the numbers the Select Board was seeing during a break in the meeting at the Park House on January 6th.
Well, unfortunately, over the last couple of years, maybe even more than 2 years, we've been working real hard to keep the increases down. We always look at the contribution of property tax as the most important aspect of what we consider, and try to keep the increase in that particular line to 3% or less. And in our efforts to do that, I think we've slid some things that I knew were going to catch up with us in this proposed budget. Unfortunately, that's been impacted even more by inflation in the range of 8 or 9% over the last 12 months. We've also seen fuel expenses, oil expenses go up exponentially. And that doesn't just impact our diesel fuel and our heating oil and that sort of thing, but it also impacts paving, which is a big expense for the town, and other areas. So these things coupled with some of the deferred items that impacted us this year, we're seeing what to me is an unacceptable expectation for what the increase is going to be in the town tax, property tax contribution, and that's going to be our biggest challenge. Also, we've conducted a study to compare what we're paying our very good people that make this town operate like a well-oiled machine and work hard to keep it running efficiently relative to other towns of similar size in this region. We're not quite up to what other towns are paying, and I think we need to make sure that we pay our good people exactly what they're worth. So there are increases in that area too, and when you take all those things combined right now, today, in the proposed document that we're looking at, there's a 19% increase in the property tax contribution. We're going to have to figure out how to mediate, how to remedy that, and It's going to be very difficult, but also we need to understand that our costs are going up, and if we can't have an unreasonable expectation as to how low that increase might be, in order to continue to provide the same level of service that we've been providing over the last few years. So it's going to be a balancing act. One of the things that I've recognized over the years that the people that are most interested in what local government do are the people that are sitting in this room. Most people, it's not even in their realm of thinking. They don't really care what we're doing, and the only time they ever think about it is when they get their tax bill. For those people that receive that tax bill, I want you to remember that only 17% of that tax bill is us. The rest of it's the state paying for education, of which 8 million goes to other communities. So, but that's neither here nor there. The only thing that we have control over is municipal spending and how we deliver the services for which people are accustomed. We'll continue to try to do that, but we have to figure out how to do it within a reasonable increase for fiscal year 2024.
While there are some big-ticket items in play, such as an upgrade in dispatch services and the money for a new dump truck for the Department of Public Works, a lot of the increases can be attributed to general inflation costs, as in diesel fuel. Other departments, like the police, fire, and water departments, also made their pitches for what they had submitted. The next steps, then, are for the Select Board and other town government officials to sharpen the pencils and see where items can be adjusted. Vermont's official town meeting day this year will be Tuesday, March 7th. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.